I'm gonna say you've missed the boat on the top there with the stuffing, the gravy, and the turkey. Detroit is obviously, and should obviously, be the turkey in this hierarchy. And I understand that this is a Kansas City-based tiers, and I understand that because Buffalo beat Kansas City, they have to be where they are, and then you're gonna put Detroit in there just because. That's the only spot that they could fall based off of the bias. But let's look at it statistically. Okay, let's just take a look at these three teams statistically and see where they rank. And you can see that Detroit is better than Kansas City and Buffalo in every category, except Kansas City is a little bit better in opponent yards per game. Okay, but that's one element. Detroit's better than all three of those other categories. Okay, and then you're thinking, well, wait a second, they lost their best pass rusher, their best defensive player. They're not going to be able to overcome that. Take a look at what happened before and after Hutchinson, and it's pretty shocking. They're actually giving up 3 less points per game.
That's crazy.
That's significant. Yards per game, pass yards per game, and look at the pressure percentage. So they've figured out a way to compensate.
How'd that happen?
Actually shown.
If that was Brock Purdy, we'd say, Hutchinson doesn't deserve a contract.
I know it's amazing, but sometimes when you have a great player and then you've got to compensate, you can get some positive things out of that collectively that maybe you're relying on one guy to do.
They also got a game against Mac Jones.
And Detroit's been doing that.
I mean, that helps.
And then finally, I know Nick will probably say, well, Kansas City and Buffalo have probably played a harder schedule. Well, that's not true either. When you look at strength of victory this season, the Lions have the best strengths of victory of all three of those teams. So in any objective criteria,
455 to 450.
Detroit is obviously the top of the tiers.
I would remind America that the last time Coach was here for tiers, he accused me of artificially inflating the Bills. I think this is back when he still thought the Jets might make a run at that division. I'm not sure. As a way to pump up the Chiefs. As opposed
You
to.
could be wrong. It's like choosing Chicago.
As opposed to correctly identifying the Bills. He also said that the committee is based in Kansas City, which, while accurate, is misleading. But you said biased and based. The committee is based in Kansas City because the committee moves every year and spends its year in the home of the Super Bowl champion. That just happens to always be Kansas City. It's how you get a real feel for the league. Listen, I think the Lions are excellent. I think that those 4 teams that are on their own tiers right now, to me, are clearly the 4 best teams in the league. And I think you can make an argument for you probably can't make an argument right now for Philadelphia being the best, but for certainly any of the other 3, you can make an argument for them being the best. And I get that right now the Lions are the hot team and the team du jour.
This isn't some emotional reaction. I just gave you objective criteria. There's no emotion.
No, I get.
It's what's happened.
I understand that. Okay. I'm not saying that. Again, I think you can make an argument they're the best team in the league. I think that if they do make the Super Bowl and they're playing either of the 2 teams above them, I think either of those teams would be a significant favorite against Detroit.
A significant favorite against Detroit. That's how little Nick Wright thinks of Detroit. Significant. If you want to make the argument, hey, Bills playing the Lions, Chiefs playing the Lions, Super Bowl, a few points here, a few points there, you can make that argument. But a significant favorite, that cannot be understated. That, to me, is him saying the quiet part out loud. He does not believe in the Detroit Lions at all. And they're not just a hot team, the soup du jour. They've been great this whole season. They've been dominant this whole season. They've been ruthless, relentless, nearly unstoppable. It's so funny because I think even Colin Cowherd said this the other day. He said, if the Detroit Lions, he goes, I think if the Lions played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, he's like, would it be shock? He's like, would it shock? He was talking to J-Mac. He's like, would it shock you if the Lions just rolled the Chiefs, just piled on? And I think J-Mac pushed back and was like, oh my God. So there does seem to be a lot of pushback. Now, I'm making this video. I think it's going to post on Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure. I'm you know, because of the holidays, I'm making this on Wednesday. I have no idea what happened with the Lions and the Bears game. Hopefully everyone just stays healthy and all of that. Fingers crossed. But also, like, I don't even care. Even if the Lions get rolled by the Bears, right? In some crazy game where the Bears win 50 to nothing, okay? 52 to nothing. Everything I said about the Lions is still 100%. You know, something would have to be so mind-blowing. Again, outside of injuries, fingers crossed, no injuries. Like, it would have to be so insane for me to be like, yeah, the Lions are just not the team that I thought they were, which I can't foresee happening. Maybe I'm tempting the universe right now because, like I said, I'm making this video Wednesday night. But I just don't care what happens in that game. I'm not going to suddenly fall out of favor with how high I think the Lions are. And I do think the Lions are a better team than the Kansas City Chiefs. I do believe that. I think the Buffalo Bills are the interesting one because of just kind of the team that they have this year and what they will look like against one another. I'm not saying that the Lions shouldn't be favored over them. I have them in the same tier right now. I have the Lions, the Eagles, and the Bills all in the same tier. But if you really ask me to make the decision right now, I will lean on the Lions. I will put the Lions above the Bills. The only reason why I even question that is just because I think Josh Allen is an absolute monster. But I think the Lions have that whole pack, and at this point I trust that the Lions will be more prepared for, say, a Super Bowl than the Bills. Honestly, you know, I just kind of go back and forth with that coaching staff and whatnot. But truthfully, we haven't really seen what the Bills look like with their new iteration. They haven't really played enough games, whether because of health or just because of just time with even someone like Amari Cooper and what that can do to the offense and whatnot. Obviously, they had a big win against the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's just too limited of a sample size for me to really draw conclusions because they've had a bunch of injuries too. Like, I really need to see what do the Bills look like 100% healthy and how do they play, because referencing a game where one, they didn't even have Amari Cooper, and two, like against when they played the Ravens, like it was so long ago, it was just like these aren't the same teams anymore. Same thing with the Lions playing the Buccaneers and the Rams in week 1. Like, I just no longer really think too deeply about those games and how they unfolded at this point. I really only care what things are looking like right now, honestly. But I would lean to having the Lions number 1 overall, but I still put them probably in a bunch, quite frankly. And who knows? The Chiefs, I think, could even get up to the top 4 as well. I mean, the Chiefs are already our top 4, but I just mean like in the same category once they get Pacheco back, and you know, who knows, you know, from just a health standpoint of what they all look like as well. But in terms of right now, today, this week, you know, then I'm still putting the Lions at the top. And again, to me, just what stands out more than anything is Nick saying that the Chiefs or the Bills would be significantly favored. And it's like, well, why do you believe that? Is it because Mahomes, Goff, Dan Campbell, Andy Reid? Like I'm just like where are we reaching these conclusions? Why the Chiefs have played every single game so close, they barely squeaked by the Panthers. Why should the Chiefs be favored significantly? That's what I'm failing to digest and understand. You can believe that the Chiefs will be the better team. You can believe that the Chiefs will win a Super Bowl with those two teams. You can believe that. But believing that the Chiefs would be significantly favored, that's a bridge too far for me. That just does not make sense to me. But I'm hopeful that we're going to get a different batch of Super Bowl teams, honestly. So it's going to be interesting. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions only being 3rd and not 1st? They're the stuffing, not the turkey. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.